I didn't
No,
queue anything up. I'm on bare minimum, and we're
run it.
live to the world.
Okay, well, we're live before there's no intro. It's cold start. We're late. We're on time. It's Wednesday.
You're never late.
It is Wednesday, right?
Yeah, it's
It is
Wednesday.
Wednesday. That's mostly fact. Um, we starting now because we had a meeting earlier regarding PGF stuffs. On air things and planning and talks of plans, which
I've
was
never
crazy
felt
and
more
very
prepared
fun.
for a season. I've never felt more prepared.
It's come a long way for sure. And then just some of the stuff that's going to be available to us may not mean anything to some of the people. I don't know how much it'll make a difference to the viewing public per se, but some of the easy stuff now for us is going to just take a ton of the stress out of some of the back and forth, the cues or whatever. Going to be a little bit easier to just manage. I feel like, uh, and most of us have been there for a few since season 6, essentially. I guess when we first moved to Vegas, I think Anit came in 7, maybe. Is that correct?
That sounds right.
I think yeah, but he's been there
Because
now.
6 would have been the first Vegas season, right? And then
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
7.
he came the
Yeah.
second one. I believe. I'm not sure. I have to fact check myself on that one. But yeah, he's you know become a big part of the whole thing now too, and so it's really nice to have those talks, pregame talks or whatever, because now we're, like I said, just kind of a, a well-oiled machine, and it's nice. But also that's why we're late, because we're on there talking about how cool we are and telling everybody how good they are at their job, and how dope we are, and
Planning.
how cool it is to plan. Yeah, that's what we're saying. This plan is so cool.
You're experiencing the other side of planning. The early fans of this show, if any of them are still around, will remember the story arc of Stephen being put on plans. That's actually the birth of this show. The only thing that's still hanging on from those shows is this show.
This thing, yeah. I mean,
This is our schedule. It's been on our schedule for
to
11 a.m. ish on Wednesday for
plan.
multiple years. This was planned.
It's crazy. And still plans don't work, right? That was my thing a lot, I guess, back then, is I just had gotten used to things just not going the way they were supposed to in ways. And so, like, again, plans are one thing. Obviously I would plan stuff, but not like we're talking about in the meeting or whatever. There wasn't like a 30-year plan. There wasn't like that kind of long-term self storytelling kind of
I
planned
mean,
out or
everybody was
whatever.
thinking like season to season.
Yeah. So, uh, and that's what I meant back then too. Even for myself, everything had kind of gone fight to fight, and then sort of like event to event or whatever. And now it's just kind of like, and still a little bit, but trying to find that like groove in life with COVID and et cetera, et cetera. It's like there was no way to plan anything really, because none of that, is kind of planned. So now we're here. We're still doing it. We've upgraded, downgraded, and moved laterally, I guess. And we doing it still. So yeah, big things coming. Big, and we said that every time, but it's been true every time. We've come back and told you that, and if you've been here, we've told you it was going to be better, and it has been. By and large, every single time has gotten better. And I think now the better is going to be the consistency of the the goodness without the need to change. Right? It's
Well,
like you got
it's
this.
the full season, right? This transition that we made, the big transition we made to having a full long season, is that like the consistency of having the story that plays out from week to week, and like the things that, I mean, we've always tried to provide that like weekly episode of things. You heard in that meeting, we've grown now to the point that it's like, oh wow, like that idea is come to full fruition. Like that's going to be executable, as opposed to we leaving from the meeting. Usually when we walked away from that meeting, it would be me and Keelan looking at each other going, all right, well, which part of that are you gonna do?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like
It'll be
it's
interesting
the
to
whole
have y'all.
team has
Yeah,
grown.
it'll be interesting to have you guys not so attached to the mechanical aspect of it every time, and get
Yeah.
back out there and like be moving around some, because you were a lot more mobile in the beginning, and then somehow you became married to the switcher, and you never left for several years. You just kind of sat over there hurting your back with three
Well,
sets of
okay.
headphones on.
This is a funny like side story history of that show, in the way that like I blew my knee out right before that would have been season 4. Yeah. And so there was a show we did that was like a man on the street show. We did at ADCC in Chicago. Nunchuck drove me there a week after my knee surgery. And that was like one of our first ideas of like this live streaming stuff, of like how to bring it to jujitsu and how to do it well. And like it's one of the first ones. And then as we were like growing the equipment and doing all that stuff, my knee was completely shot. So like I was hobbling around on a cane. And so that's partially why I ended up over on the controls, was I couldn't move. And so I was the one that just like, we built the whole system, and then I just sat there and could scoot around on my butt and like plug and unplug stuff to make it work. And so that's kind of like the very early seasons. What we were doing was because Keelan and everybody else could be over in running the gimbal or like doing the mobile stuff all around. But then I was able to be over there just like on the ones and twos, like making things work. So yeah, it's gonna be weird and kind of like cool watching as the PGF has grown. The people watched the like outward part grow and like all the different successes and things, but really the core team hasn't changed at all.
Hmm.
And so it's going to be kind of cool to see that we're going to have this core team growth that has happened over the last 2 seasons, and kind of see the full vision kind of come to life this season. So I know like every season we're in this type of project, like everybody's like, this is the season. And it's like, well, I kind of feel like it's gonna be that every time now. And then the thing is that every single season it kind of festers into it, and there's a new invested group and new people are in it, and that grows to the next season and the next. It's been a really cool wave as far as that whole thing goes. And yeah.
And
So
speaking of how things go and the new waves and the new people coming in being excited to help take part in the thing, the Philadelphia Phenoms had our very first qualifier this weekend at
yeah,
uh, Finishers HQ at Bethlehem. Um, you were there. I
it
was
was
not.
cold.
I was
It was
watching
cold.
from the safe confines of my car when I was driving down the road, which is completely safe for a long time. And then I watched, again, a little bit of it from the house as I was getting there. Thankfully for me, it started late. I'm selfish. So it started late, which allowed me time to get in because I was teaching a seminar at Blackwater that day. Uh, and you know how I am. I get a little mouthy. So I went long, and people just kind of started leaving, and I was like, all right, well, there's 3 of you left. You want to keep going? They're like, man, let us leave. I was like, all right, my bad. My bad.
Okay.
But
There's lots of
no,
content.
there should be. Nate left
Okay.
with his camera long before I did. He was like, all right, I'm
Okay.
out. So either way, that was fun. But yeah, the Phenoms qualifier, uh, deep. I think it had 28 registrants, but there was a blizzard apparently that knocked out
Yeah.
some people.
Look, we got on the road and we got outside the city, and as soon as we got outside the city, we started seeing snowflakes. And at one point, like me and Brandon were talking about the fact that like I've never seen snowflakes that big, and so props to anybody that did make it there.
Yeah, and some of the higher seated, I guess, that we were thinking we're going to come weren't able to make it. Some guys showed up 8 hours after 8 hours in the car. They got late. They got to come in
Yeah,
in the loser bracket and get to play a little bit. But there's 23, I think, based
I
on
think
what
that's
what I
yeah.
saw. Really really good matches. Jaden Groner, 10th Planet Brown Belt, was the winner. There's a couple stats here. Hold on one second. I snapshotted them so I could use them today. And want to give credit to Substats for these stats. They posted them, so I
My
just
man's
stole
been
theirs.
killing it.
Yeah, I just stole their information here. So it's like the Phenoms qualifier versus the Jiu Jitsu Open qualifier. 37 finishes at Phenoms, 20 for the Jiu Jitsu Open. Average
Crazy.
match time 2 minutes and 58 seconds. Jiu Jitsu was a little bit faster. That was a good bit faster. Average match 139. So I guess that was a lot of Travis Haven finishes. Uh, More matches probably with a deeper pool of people. So that's where some of those finishes came from. Average match length 258. And then versus the Kings first qualifier in Dallas, similarly, there was, a lot more finishes because there was more people, probably 37-16. The average match length was shorter for the Phenoms, 2 minutes and 58 seconds versus 3 minutes and 37 seconds, which that's still really fast for average matches at, under 4 minutes for any of these qualifiers here. And then the Twisters qualifier average match was 347, and so the Phenoms had a little bit faster than them. Also more finishes with 37 versus the 23. So pretty interesting stats there. And sometimes the numbers look a little bit different, I guess, because like I said, there were so many in. Oh, there you go. Yep, there were so many. I think registered in the Phenoms. That'll give you a few more of those subs. But fastest sub being 16 versus the 11. Luca Martel, um, Martel, my bad. With that, so it's really interesting to see some of these like numbers side by side. But then as a whole, the whole thing, like I said, everything under a 4 minute average match time. That means there was going to be some draws and decisions, but there's a lot of quick finishes, and I think there's a lot of talent at this Phenoms qualifier. Honestly, that is going to be interesting, I guess, to kind of watch play out over the course of this season and like future seasons, because there were people who didn't make it. Like a
Yeah,
Whit Ramey came up there and had another good performance, but just couldn't get through the bracket. Bova. What was the other kid's name that was in the constellation one that was pretty tough too for a while? Man, I don't have to get his whole name pulled up, but Bombartito, was that
okay,
his name?
yeah.
Yeah, Antonio Bombartito. He was really exciting. Joe Datchler, pretty good. Day there. Lucas Jones. So some of these guys were ending up with like a 5-2 day or whatever by the end of it. The winner was 5-0. So that answers some of the questions about how they could get through a day at the PGF if they can do double day uh,
Yeah.
in one go there.
And at that pace, I mean, like, did you watch the clips that I sent you in the
Mhm,
Dropbox?
mhm. Yes,
So
yes.
that audio is raw off the camera that was like up in the handheld camera, and
Mhm.
you can hear that like that pace that everybody was pushing was crazy.
Yeah, and so you wanted me to talk about it from the fans' perspective, from the viewer
Yeah,
perspective, since I wasn't
yeah,
there. A few things we kind of talked about in the beginning. And the corner cam thing gets pulled back a little bit for me because I'm so used to having that closer kind of feeling.
that
and I
some
think they have
track.
a
Yeah.
really big mat area there. Um, so that was one of the things at first, but then it got tighter and got cleaned up, I think, a lot by the end of it. I really enjoyed the commentary. I can't remember the
Big
names of the
J
guys. I think,
and
yeah, Big J and the other fella, I can't, sorry, but they were good. I thought
yeah,
they did a really good job.
yeah,
They were versed enough in the rule set, at least, that it didn't feel unnatural. So it did, even if they didn't know anything except for what they had kind of studied up on a little bit, it didn't feel rehearsed or it didn't feel faked
yeah.
a lot. So that
I
was
do
really
know. I
cool.
do know that Big J himself. I've heard him say, and I've heard multiple say that he's like a fan of the PGF, and everything I've heard about the commentary was like, "Oh, that was dope!" Like everybody, you could tell that they were excited, and from like a story standpoint of like they understood the implications of the people that were there, the people that were characters,
Mhm.
reoccurring characters, that kind of thing. So like I heard nothing but good things about the commentary.
Yeah, you could tell some of the and I guess that's the thing. It's not that it's right or wrong. It would just be a little different in the way that they were saying it than from what the normal kind of cadence of things may be, or explaining it a little differently, I guess. Uh, but I thought it was pretty good. So overall, I really enjoyed it from the fan at home perspective. Obviously, starting late was outside of anybody's kind of control there.
A lot of that was weather. A lot
That's
of
what I'm
that we
saying.
were
Yeah, it
waiting on
wasn't
guys.
really.
We were trying to give the guys time because a lot of them were still on the roads and like
Mhm.
it was dicey. It was being from the South and being located where I've been located for the last few years. Is that like I forgot that one that there were states that were prepared to deal with it because I saw how quickly they were like, oh goodness, and they like cleaned up the streets and you're like, oh okay, they were ready for it. Versus
Mm.
like had this happened in Birmingham, Alabama, oh we'd still be shut down.
Mm.
But
It's
like
coming this
it was
weekend, apparently. Oh,
we got to get
but yeah,
out of we got
so,
to get out of here for the 24th. We got to be ready for the Vegas qualifier. I'm gonna be in the desert. Y'all deal with it later.
mm, run on there. But so from a fan's perspective at home, I thought it was good. Oh, and also I sent him a text during the thing. He wasn't put on the live stream portion of it. Like he wasn't piped through the stream, but I could hear shot clock Andrew. He was also doing the announcing, Andrew Murillo, and he sounded really good. And so I just want to give him his shout out too for doing it. It sounded good over the way that it was done. He wasn't getting on the mainstream, but he had some cadence, and he was putting in
He
some
was
work.
coming over the PA, and I
Yeah,
heard him over there
it
warming
sounded
up, and I
good.
was
That's
like,
what I said. He was
all
working.
right,
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I
you drank
made
your
sure I
tea
shot
this
him a
morning.
text too. He was like, "Let's go, big dog. You sounding good." So again, another guy who's passionate about the thing. He's a ref. He's the this, but he'll announce. I imagine he would coach a team if somebody asked. I imagine he would GM something, didn't do it well. I imagine he
Yeah.
could commentate. It's just he loves
And
the thing and
he's been there at the core of the creation
of a lot of
a
it for
lot
sure.
of the
Especially the
rules and
big
the
chunks. Yeah,
yeah, like
in the last
in
several
the
years.
most recent years that we've made
hmm
those developments,
Shot
like
clock
he's been at
earned it.
in the midst of it. Oh, I lost my T-shirt over here.
Yeah, no, so definitely shout outs to him for the stellar performance, is is a good number two. Is a good number two. Um just kidding. I'm sorry. Uh but I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. What do you think from your perspective being there as I don't want to say like manager or whatever, but you were kind of supervising? Is that would that be a good way to kind of say?
Well, actually,
Consulting?
you got to see my handiwork. I was actually running the handheld camera for most of it.
Oh, that's why
Yeah,
it
your
got
boy
good
had
to
to
me.
play.
That's why I started
Yeah,
feeling good okay, I was like, "All right, I'm feeling
yeah,
this now."
yeah.
Okay.
But and that was from flights and all the weather and the craziness, and so things happen. But from I kind of have been coming at this season as kind of a producer role, and I
Mhm.
mean that's kind of always been my role. Is that like people go, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "I'm Keelan's number two," which means that I deal with all the number two that Keelan doesn't want to deal with,
Is
and
that
so
associate producer or something?
yeah, like I'm like the assistant producer as far as like what I guess my title would be, but where I've kind of been coming in is just plugging in holes wherever the production team, because it's become the thing where like it's a league now. Like it's we talked about this a few seasons ago as this happened, is that like it's now it's a league. It was we're putting this thing together, the production and everybody is all in house, everything's taken care of and all that. But as it kind of breaks out and becomes the real thing, I mean, the way the real thing works is there's another aspect. There's the production, there's the teams, they handle all this stuff. And so like the league is growing in a way to where the OGs of the organization have all kind of gone through this growth over the last like 2 years, where it's been like, okay, now what are we doing? Like, what's my role? Like, what do I do? Because I was over here trying to be, whoever can, like, take your pick of what role people were doing, and it may not have been their role, but it was the role that needed to be filled at the time, and they get better. Go ahead. Did you have a question?
No, go ahead. I thought you were done.
Oh, okay. No. But like they get good at that thing. But one of the things that I do think, if you study organizations and like really like good businesses and things like that have been successful, is one of the things that can cripple organizations is when people like start to like identify their job or like whatever they're doing at the moment to get the task done as like their identity. And if they hold on to that, they're like this, I think that can kind of cripple an organization. And I think that we've done a good job with the people that like we just shift into new roles and we just shift into these new, okay, well, this is what we need to learn how to do. You were talking about like Murillo. Like, I don't think he knew he was doing the like emceeing until probably 30 seconds before we were live. Like,
Killed it.
So,
Yep.
I mean, it's been an organization full of people like that, and I don't remember what got me off on that tangent,
Well,
but like
I
that,
asked you like your role of like what you were doing. Were you more like supervising, or how does that feel? Because you
yeah,
went there in a different role from where, again, kind of like we're talking about with the season, you're not
right,
gonna be the actual hands-on exactly like you have been. You've kind of had to be, and I guess that's a good way to say kind of been forced to be pulled back a little bit to allow yourself to do maybe more important parts of the job that you haven't been able to do, because you're a big part of the storytelling more than you are just like a mechanical part of
yeah,
the thing. Is like you're pretty uh centered in what the overall story of the PGF is, and what the vibe is and is supposed to be from the like the inception of it, kind of.
yeah,
And you've been as close to Keelan and with Brandon for a lot of those kind of conversations and things for that too. So a lot of that's wasted sitting there just kind of pushing the buttons during the live stream. You could definitely be a lot more productive, being able to be on the move and kind of seeing what's going on and making sure stuff's happening. Because there's been a lot of times I'm like doing my thing and I'm trying to text you, or I'm like trying to wave at you and like send somebody over there. Do you need this for the documentary? And you're like, send somebody over there. And so
and
like,
shockingly, we've gotten a lot of that. But yeah, more of that stuff gets covered and that type of thing. And like, yeah, as it grows, it's the ship's always going to be on fire. Is especially when you're talking about live. And like, I heard Brandon talking in a conversation multiple times where, like, live sports is going to be the last place that like live storytelling and live like where that exists, is because it's the only thing that we don't know what the outcome is. We don't know who's going to win. We don't know how they're going to get there. We don't know, like, that's the only thing that's ever going to be left. And so like being in a more mobile seat to like cover that and do that of this, like that's, I'm excited about that. And like it's coming into it and experiencing the like Phenoms qualifier and all the qualifiers so far has been an interesting one. And I've told each one of the owners like separately when I've talked to them about it, is that like, for one, this qualifying season definitely feels like previous, like the early days of what the whole thing was about. like the community in the like vibe in the gym, like all the way down to the gyms that they picked where we did them, is that like it's a bunch of us that are gathered around on this mat, and we're trying to just like put on a good show that like we're going to be entertained with. People are going to talk about it. It's going to be exciting matches. It's going to be like, it's all in that inception. And like the Phenoms one, for one, I was more hands on than all the rest because I didn't have to run the camera itself. Like we had some of the guys, Nunchuck, I think, was on the other two. Is that like when you're attached to the camera, and like where this all started as far as the live broadcast of it was like me and Keelan were traveling around the Southeast, like working for different shows, basically whittling it all the way down to where we would show up and we'd have no help, and it would be just me and him and this pile of cameras and like cords that we had, and we just started plugging stuff in until we had an entire show that, if push comes to shove, I'm not volunteering, wherever Keelan is, if he's watching this, I'm not volunteering us for this, but if push comes to shove, one camera, one piece of equipment, and a computer, we can get whatever you want anywhere in the world with an internet connection. Like we can get you a stream.
I seen it.
And so like that's what it was born from. And so getting to where we have all these extra tools and toys and bells and whistles, and where people see these replays and these things that we've done, like it's been stuff that we've just kind of like explored.
Oh, y'all don't even know what y'all got coming. You just said the trigger word replays and stuff. Y'all don't even know some of the stuff I heard in this meeting. Oof. It didn't even make sense to me, but the way that these other like nerds were talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be good.
You heard a lot of numbers and letters
and then graphic this and slide in that and some other yep. That's what they should have been doing too.
So. Well, we were trying as we spun the hamster wheels and did all this over here.
Your math checked out too, because he actually said the budget that you said for the thing. So I was like, all right, Isaac is trustworthy. He's not just lying to me. Because that dude, he said the same number for the graphic package. I was like, all right, fair.
I mean, I'm not lying, but yeah, that's
it. Just and not that I thought, it's just that whole thing too. Like your teacher teaches you something in some way, and you're like, I want to go check to be sure, that's not wrong or whatever. And then not that I went to go fact check it. It was just like, oh, you heard it somewhere else, so it's like that's a fact.
Yeah.
So Egghead's calling for Nunchuck. Is he working for the Colorado Wolverines? Is Nunchuck going to be their head videographer?
I'm sure he's for hire.
He's just screaming at him in the chat. I don't know if Nunchuck can hear you yet. I don't know if he's here, but
he's not here. But
yeah. Other cool story: Egghead, punk ass, got him a little team now that's gonna get dunked on. Gadoosh, 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 gadoosh.
The Colorado Wolverines, am I correct?
Yeah, the Colorado Wolverines. Oh, he's just remembering you yelling Nunchuck's name is what he says. Okay.
Yeah, well, we have many more hands these days, and actually we have comms and things like that, so Nunchuck doesn't have to get yelled at anymore. He just gets called over on the radio. See, the whole thing's growing.
It is. It makes it easy that way. But yeah, so all 4 teams legitimized, owned independently from the league by people or groups of people.
Organizations.
Yeah, well, they are specific different organizations now, with Egg coming in, blitzing for the Colorado Wolverines, going after it hard. He's wanted it. We all know. We've all kind of been in many, many, many conversations and different things like that. He went hard. He went hard. And that's what it takes, I guess, to get this kind of stuff done, especially in this kind of climate with all the things that it takes right now. So it was cool to hear and see that he's getting it done, and now like doing the thing. What is that going to look like in a few years? I don't know. He's went from the first guy in in the chat with a super chat in the season or whatever, just kind of being out there, you know, enjoying the show and supporting the show, to now he's a real like you know, maker of change and decisions,
He's
and
a part of the
he's
organization at
gonna,
this
well, yeah,
point.
he's gonna influence the culture of it, you know, and not that he hasn't already, but just in a different kind of way now, uh, than just being a fan would. And that's one of the cool kind of things about this too. That's developing, you know.
Well, I mean, he took away like one of his and my only bones to pick is the whole like calling my route the Rudy route.
Mm,
Is that like he took that away from me at this point?
he
It's
went
like
the
this is
Rudy route.
he went the Rudy route. He took it, and so I mean,
Yeah, and they're
I've
going
no
hardcore Colorado. They're signing
yeah.
athletes from Colorado. They're trying to, you know, do the whole big Homer team thing, which I think is good. I think it's important. Everybody's doing their own version of that. Um, so yeah, I'd like to take credit for him really pushing hard for it, because I think some of the Kentucky presence got him a little spooked, and he's like, "Oh, no way, I can lose to the Kentucky Hollers." And so he bit down and got it done, you know. So I'm gonna take credit for him having the team. So you're welcome. You know, I did that.
I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you
Yeah, yeah,
finish.
FUBU. That's right. This is our FUBU. Speaking of which, what's it? He had some coconut water. He had the Once Upon a Coconut in it on the ad. What's God? I can't remember his actual name now. The real FUBU guy, Damon,
The
from
guy
Shark
that's on
Tank.
like Shark Tank. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
saw that.
He
I
he
saw
did something with the Once Upon a Coconut recently there too. So it was like, dang, that's wild. I drink that.
that.
That's cool. You know, I don't know
Yeah.
why. That's just a weird thing. I don't know. I get it. I'm ultra wealthy, just like him, and have the finest of coconut waters during the seasonal time of the year.
Like a true coconut. It's not always coconut season,
Oh man, no, but that the
but
coconut
if you
water is
got
really
coconut
good.
water, it's always coconut season.
It's a free ad for Once Upon a Coconut. Again, if you have it in your area, you should try it. They
They have
that's
it in Publix.
they do they. We got
They
Publixes.
they did at one point.
Mm. I haven't seen it here. If they do, I'm about to go
Go
get
wipe
that.
them out.
About to go have to holler at them about that. But yeah, so there's a lot of cool parts of the story this season that are growing. The Kings being the legacy team right now with their two players from the past. You know, they're kind of building that with Cam and Jet starting out. Ricky Lundell being a coach on the season when they were kind of just sponsoring the team with Coach Pedro Sauer, where they won. A lot of interesting things to go with that, building the
Yeah,
culture of a team that they see as a winner. General
yeah,
manager Travis Thomas was
Travis.
on that
Yeah.
team. So there's a lot uh, of the story stuff going in. Obviously, me, you know, playing the advisor GM role here with the Phenoms is interesting, and it gives them some leverage they may not have in certain places as far as like information about stuff. So you know, we're gonna go all play the game hard. You know, Twisters and the Nasty Nine, they out here doing their thing. I'm actually gonna be on their show the weekend after the draft in Birmingham, announcing. So uh, hit them up if you guys want to come compete on one of the shows. It's in Birmingham. It's going to be a big deal. I'm trying to find the t-shirt cannon in time. Where you know it's on the table. It's still, don't think I forgot just because I hadn't said it all day. Um, it's still right there in the front of my mind the whole time.
It's
Uh,
all you think about.
that's
Like
that's the one.
I'm
That's my one goal for this season. Is like, Steven, what's your goal for this? He's like, t-shirt cannon. Everything else will be great. Everything else is gonna be good no matter what. The outcome doesn't matter. I'm working hard for that this season. But those guys are working hard. They're building their community in a different way. They're already having multiple events for people to start competing on. That's keeping the buzz up. Uh, that's one way to do it. You know, um, it's crazy. It's gonna be good. It's getting better every time. So I'm really excited. Oh yeah, the Kings with Ricky. Sorry, the Twitchers announced Applegate as a coach, the Connect Four champion.
That's a callback.
He put 4 of the 5 guys in the playoffs, I think, the season that he was the coach. Um, did all of them get in?
From his team, that was my season, so it's a little blurry.
Yeah, all 5 got
All
in.
five.
Eric
Okay.
says so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unprecedented. That's a thing, and he's got
That's
2 of
a
his homeboys, his homegrown players, coming with him. So
and he knows the game and he knows how to pick. I'm fascinated to watch his team structure on the draft of like how they play the draft.
yeah, and I want to see everybody's rankings of how they kind of have everybody rated. Obviously, I can't get that information right now, but I'd like to see it maybe after the fact too. Just kind of like how did you have certain people rated out or whatever? Because there's the coaches are going to have different things that they like and dislike, and their personalities are going to matter, and they're going to want certain kind of things, and so it's going to matter more in time. The cohesiveness, I guess, of the team and things like that is becoming more and more important. So it's gonna be crazy to see, and everybody's kind of starting off with on a pretty strong foot with their first 2. I don't know where do you see it going this season? How are you feeling?
Each one has its positive. I think that the ones that pay more attention to the specifics of PGF experience is going to play a heavy role is because whoever has or the better understanding, and it may not even be quantity, it's just the better understanding of how to play it, is that the game's just so different.
Mm.
And so like whatever they're going in with, whoever they're coming in with, they all of them seem to be on the same thought. They all seem to be thinking that same thing of like they need equally somebody who has experience like competing, but specifically in PGF format because it's a different kind of game. It's like you said, like watching them go through the Philly, like double elimination bracket of that size, like dog, like that's a work day. Bring your
Pretty
lunch
gangster.
pail, like yeah. So the guy that makes it out of that's going to be a G, like
Yeah,
especially if they make it out the way Homeboy did. Is that that's what you want? You want
clean.
somebody who's not going to waste a bunch of time, take pops, have exciting matches. Like it's fun to watch, and that's partially why we're here. But if we're talking about the teams and the question you just asked, like who's going to have the more efficient people, the people are going to get in, get out, like
Yeah,
that's a big answer from a big qualifier like Philly. Is it like, oh, like this guy's going to get in and not cost me anything and not cost himself anything because he's got a whole month of this to do it.
yep, yep. It's gonna be interesting to see because there are a lot of guys coming in that haven't been in a season that are of the higher touted players. And so it's gonna play out how it normally does, and I think some guys will get wised up a little bit sooner than others. It's kind of how it happens. But I think your coach, you know, will be a big part of that stuff too, like helping you be smartened up, so to say. So
I think equally in answering that question too is how much does the coach, which all the coaches have probably equal amount right now if I think about it, like as far as on their different aspects of like experience with the PGF, like how well they translate that into that like you said, a big power play is Sean. Like Sean he's amazing at all these other things. He has experience being a coach before inside of it. He's been near it. His athletes have been in it. Like that's it. Watching him unwind this, regardless of what you're a fan of or who you're watching or whatnot, he will set like a bar of like what it is to break it down. Like as a coach for the PGF.
agreed. Agreed for sure. Everybody's gonna be pretty maniacal, I think, in their planning, and some of them already are. And so it's a new level again. That's it. It's a new level every time. So I'm hyped up. I got to get ready to go pick up my children, or my one children from school. The other ones don't get out till yet, but
If
I'm
you
sure they'll
can't
be.
make it, tune in January 24th, Las Vegas Kings qualifier. If you can make it, you can still register till the 22nd. I just saw was when they're closing out.
Oh, and on that line, if you want to make it into the season, obviously the qualifier is the only way to get in through winning or through like showing out. The only way you can get in if all the other people get broken that are bench players is you would have had to be a qualifier athlete. So if you go to a qualifier, you are now eligible to be picked up, but you got to
Yeah,
go to the qualifier.
you
There's
can
only
be
one
string
left.
7, 8.
There's
If we
only one
start
left.
breaking people off when
That's
they
right.
start calling
That's right.
people, you
You
had
get
to
your
have been
time
in
in the
one.
sun, baby. Come on out here. Get dunked on once or twice. Be on somebody's poster. You can still be like, I was in the league, you know? I was in the league. I was in there. 20
I
2026
slipped.
season.
I
Look at me.
slipped.
It's just boom, right? You know, man, it was fouling me, you know, it was a foul. But you'll be there. You'll be in the league, right? And there's only one more way. This qualifier with the Kings in Vegas. The draft is the following week. And it's on from there. It's nonstop. I'm driving across the country with a t-shirt cannon.